because it was made by Blumhouse, which we will get into here in a bit. It is another example.
Yeah. Bothers me because it's made by Blumhouse. We'll get into it in a bit. What did Blumhouse do? Why are you letting this do? This whole video is just a whole bunch of I say this is bad because I say so, okay? I don't need to explain myself. I'm the elitist of pretty much the horror genre, okay? Of the horror community or some bullshit like that. It's just fucking insane how much assertion he does.
Example of Jason Blum profiting off of minorities while working against their values simultaneously. And overall, it just feels like the kind of useless statement.
How does he do that? You don't just say that and be like, I'll leave that for later.
That a politician would put out that says something that everyone already knows and agrees with and does absolutely nothing in any radical way like a horror film dealing with these issues should. You also have horror movies that are...
So did you hear that? He thinks horror films should do things in a radical way. I think he has just brain rot. Pure and utter brain rot.
Argue that the very act of making horror is a bad thing and should not be done because of its real harm in the outside world.
A few minutes later.
Which, you know, it's ultimately a small thing, but I hate when a film has so little respect for an art form that it is trying to depict, that it doesn't even do basic research on how this fictional work of art would fit within the actual...
And this is going to become very ironic. Is ironic already because it's already gotten some factual things completely fucking wrong.
Some backstory. This is like a, I hate this word, queer guy who made a video about conservative horror movies. And it's like, how long is it? 4 hours?
Wait a minute. Wait. Conservative horror movie. WHORE movies.
No, just horror and scary.
Oh, okay.
And basically it's like 4 hours long, which it shouldn't be, and he goes off subject on weird tangents, and he starts to bring in YouTubers and starts using false misinformation about them and attacks them in this video. So that's this video.
Do you know Mark After Dark?
Oh, yes, of course. No, and I've seen this. Okay, never mind. Yeah, keep it up.
Okay.
I only saw slight clips of this. Like people have been posting slight clips of this, so I've seen a little bit. I can't remember this guy's name. It looks like how Philosophy Tube used to look, but I know he's a leftist. I know that Sitch and Adam have done videos on him. Is he second
Noah
thought?
Samson, okay?
Second Thought. Is that Second Thought?
No, it's not, okay? It's his evil twin brother in the horror sphere in Praise of Shadows. Video came out of nowhere. I guess he's saying this as a fuck you before he goes to Patreon with all the other bread tubers. Like, I'm going to be the true bread tuber self. Now,
looks
so
like
let me say fuck you.
He looks like if Armored Skeptic got cut lots of his hair off and shaved the beard.
Oh, that's an insult to Armored Skeptic, I think.
Well, yeah. But do you know what? I used to really like Armored Skeptic.
Where the media becomes a shield to those with power and money who may do things that are ethically questionable. Or even if they don't do anything necessarily wrong and they just put out a lackluster film. I'm not trying to be a dick here. I hate giving anything a bad review, genuinely. I always go into art pieces online trying to gas up
This was all.
But if you listen to the buzz,
This is
only
like
for you to sit there, well liked within the community, just got to wonder that
he's just
and this
hurt
happens
that
near
reviewers.
monthly. There are
hype
probably
up
at least 24
mid-shit.
other examples I could have picked to talk. People would look you in the eye and was well done. It is
Can
a
you pause
pattern
it?
of regular
Pause
online
it
to
for a
represent a
second.
message given from.
Oh, I'm trying to get that. That's perfect pause. So perfect pause for me.
I want to say I know that I barely know this guy, but I can see from his energy and what he's talking about that he doesn't like actually have lots of wins in his pocket. He hasn't accomplished a lot of things on his own. He's a critiquer who has never done anything on without somebody else doing it for them.
A few moments later.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get away from the real world.
Back to this, please.
Go into the light. Okay.
The afterlife was well done. It is a pattern of regular online behavior. And to find the actual good stuff, you've got to kind of train your ears to fine tune out all the bullshit that people say in their reviews.
But he's still so full of shit. Even if when I can almost see his point, it's like, stop being a douchebag. And he's like, I'm sorry to be mean earlier, but I'm going to call this woman stupid. I'm like, use the fucking R slur. Use retard, dude. Okay, if you're going to apologize something, apologize for the R slur. Retard. Yep. It was so funny. I'm like, what the hell? What was he going to say? I really do love
places like Fangoria. I need that to be clear. I have a stack of them next to my work desk. But also, it does have to be acknowledged that their primary goal before anything else is to sell you new horror films, whether they are good or not, and are legitimately comfortable lying to you about the quality of a film for money. Places like that should be seen as advertisements first and foremost, and not as legitimate critical pieces most of the time. And I don't think that should even be a huge controversial statement to say. They spent one of their 4 years.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's hard to, you can't, when you are especially Fangoria, which is specifically the entirety of you look at it as a book entirety. So every page that goes by, you think of it as Fangoria. There are ads every other page. Like in between stories, you'll be reading a story. The next page, there will be an ad for whatever, like something that like new cake makeup or animatronic designs and stuff like that, where people can order online. But then it goes back into it. So it's hard to disassociate the actual journalism and the reporting on the ground of what's going on from the advertising. Just like when you see online, like MSNBC talking about their drugs that they're selling and how, we need you to take the jab. And then right afterwards, there's an ad for Pfizer. It's kind of part and parcel. They come together. They're almost part of the same culture.
They have to lock up people for selling certain things like cigarettes in certain places.
Yeah. Who are the people that want to smoke cigarettes? Then you go to them and then you say, hey, we'll pay you. So you, as a advertiser as a journalist or somebody who wants to get their media out there, you have to pay people to be able to do that. How do you pay them?
I wonder if they pay people to be trans. Like, I wonder if
Dylan Mulvaney was paid to be trans. Yes, he was paid to be trans.
Okay, I thought he just sort of got peer pressured into it. Started doing the sort of girl thing, and people converted him.
He was literally an actor, a gay actor, who went around and realized he couldn't get any work, and then he saw what was happening with the trans thing, and he just started up the TikTok. He gained 300,000 followers in 1 month. Just because it was the thing to do. And then you just realize, okay, people, Bud Light wants to give me money. I will just lean in harder. And how are you not like intermingled with your audience captured, but at the same time your advertisement captured?
You just captured all around. You're fucked. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a lot of these people. Nick Avocado.
You're a Muppet. Yeah. Just like Justin Trudeau.
Always bring back to Trudeau. But yeah, ads. You got to have a critical eye for this sort of stuff. I work at GameStop. This is why I just became desensitized to like.
Did you seriously work at GameStop? Did you seriously work at GameStop?
Yeah, for a couple of years I worked for GameStop. GameStop TV. I heard them overhype a whole bunch of games that I thought were like mid to maybe a little lame. Okay, I get to check out the games and check them all out and do all that. Got discounts, so I bought a lot of games at that time period. It's just like the stuff's bullshit. Okay, they're getting us to push some bullshit games.
I seriously want to give you a hug.
Why?
Because it would have seemed like such a great opportunity at the time. And then you realize that, oh my God, you guys are fucking with us so badly. Like, oh my God, going to the GameStop, my friends and I used to go there. We would sell magic cards that we would get in like in drafts and stuff like that, and we would go straight to GameStop after we sold the magic cards, just so we could buy video games and play with each other.
And you could trade in your video games.
Play with
And
each other.
yes, duh. Have you never played with other people? That's what it's like. That's what it's like to have friends that play the same games with you.
It did happen. Back in the day, it did happen. People used to do drafts and play games with other people. The couch would have gone out.
It was the best time. Oh my God. When you would call up your friend and go, I just got this new game and I have no idea about it. And one guy would go, oh yeah, my friend had it. And there'd be 4 people over at your place, and you would all switch with the controller to play through like Bayonetta. Bayonetta was one of my favorite ones, where I had 5 people coming over and nobody had ever played it before. And we spent like 7 hours all going through the game because we loved it so much. What a great game that was.
I have it on the Xbox 360 still.
That almost seems like sacrilege. I remember Smash. I did a lot of fighters and sports games with those things. Yeah.
Oh,
I had the similar, but I never did it with the single player games very well. There was Devil May Cry like 3 or 4.
Well, Bayonetta is a Devil May Cry, but
I know. I played the first one.
Soul Calibur. Same with Soul Calibur. Yep. I never even knew about Soul Calibur until my friends called me up and said, hey, yeah, you should come over. We all got Soul Calibur 4. And boy, that was Soul Calibur 4 was fucking great.
I
loved Ivy. Okay, it isn't because of the boobs. It was because of the chainsword. Okay. And the boobs.
Hey,
okay.
Whoa.
Chainsword
Yeah, exactly.
just helped.
Why can't Ivy be amazing with everything and not just a couple things? What a great outfits they always put on her too.
Yeah.
She was
something changed my opinion of that. Is someone pointed out where's her nipples, and that's a weird place on Ivy if you really think about it. Fuck you, Game Theory. I think they're the one to point out where the nipples would have been on her breast. Okay, I got pissed off at what I thought about it. I'm like, fuck you, Game Theory, talking about that shit. I think it was Game Theory.
I hope Matt Pat has a house on the ocean where him and his wife and kids never have to interact with the internet ever again.
Oh, that dude just sort of melted down. He couldn't deal with it. That was sort of funny.
Dude,
in the end, it was sort of funny and sad.
He was
not as bad as
he's a Mormon that that went on the internet. It's like he was what Philip DeFranco should have been, but you know.
Let's not get into Philip DeFranco. I used to like him like 4 years ago.
Me too. Oh, 4 years ago. Oh my God. That's 8 years ago I can understand, but 4 years ago, Jesus Christ. Anyways,
I think when he started going with the brain rot, but yeah, let's keep going with this. Bandingo, all this
issues
shit.
Last
We're
year
not even getting to the back.
Exorcist Believer was going to be.
Biddy
I purposefully have never made close friends with people who actually make movies, or with many people
Oh no, you probably haven't made close friends. Period. Okay.
I agree.
Don't lie.
I agree.
Purposely, you did not make friends because you are you. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if you would have, maybe made friends with Second Thought or Noah Samson, and this is why he went down this.
It's not because he didn't want to.
Correct. Okay. I can't believe this guy ever made friends anywhere.
No,
space to be honest.
we all find people that that are like-minded, especially with the internet nowadays. We can all find like-minded people, but I can tell you right now, just from the way he acts, he doesn't care about himself. People don't think about him as someone to go, I need his opinion. They don't call him up and go, hey bro, I'm going through this. What should I do? Nobody does that. And it's
very obvious.
Do you know what I can guarantee that these people that I'm about to mention will people actually ask about that. It's like Mahler, Critical Drinker, Gary, and Adam, and Sitch. people actually call them and say, hey, I'm in a situation. Can you give me some advice? Nobody looks at this fucking guy. Nobody has talked to this guy and said, I need his advice, or I won't be able to get through this. Nobody, not a single person. But there are people out there who would say, hey, I'm doing this. Do you agree with me on this? And he'll say, yes, I do agree with you. That's perfect. That's totally in line with what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. They're not looking for honest opinions when they talk to this guy. They're looking for acceptance. I know that's a hard it's a hard thing to work out, but he's not respected. He's a Muppet.
I can get behind that. Okay. He's got that Muppet look in his eye. Look at that look. Look at those eyes.
He's in a fucking garage. He's in a garage, an unfinished garage with a what's it called? A washer and dryer in the back. He lives there. He lives in somebody's like unfinished garage.
Probably. He probably has a coffin. He tries to play act as a vampire, a queer vampire. Wants his own Brad Pitt or
my garage looks so much better than this. My work studio looks so much better than this, even though it's a flailing, like, junky mess. Like, it looks like I've been on crack for like 20 years and there's art all over the wall and stuff like that. But it looks like there's a purpose to it. He looks like he's living in a storage area. But
probably.
this is where he lives.
Kind of reminds me of that guy in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, Buffalo Bill?
Yeah,
you think he has a hole back there with, like, a conservative imp conservative guy? Like, make Trump great again. Yeah, you take that lotion, baby.
Oh, Crip Daddy isn't dead. He's actually in a hole in this guy's basement.
Oh, Mr. Soft. Unsolved mysteries can probably find a lot by looking into this guy's garage.
Seriously, rip Crip Daddy. He was awesome.
He wants, and he's gonna try to skin them and then put on their conservative like skin and try to, like, I don't know, just like pose as a conservative.
Try to infiltrate them.
Yeah.
Maybe to plan
Have you noticed the trend of all the, like, actual good women out there who are going like, I hate all these leftist guys. They're useless and they never, like, amount to anything. I kind of want a conservative dude who actually has his shit together. That'd be really great. Wouldn't you? This guy seems like somebody who would want to wear the skin of a girl like that.
Very possibly. Don't let him near shoe on head, okay?
No, she's already married. And have you seen her husband? Have you seen her husband?
I'm moving on. Yes.
She locked out. She locked out. Moving on.
Because in a lot of ways, that would compromise an integral part of my job. If I knew Mick Garris on a personal level, I would have probably not been shameless enough to say that about his movie just now. I think to be a critic, you have to purposefully distance yourself from the thing that you are criticizing, and to not do so in some circumstances is questionable. There must be a clear delineation between you as the critic and the subject of the criticism. Remember just a little bit ago when I was talking about Tananarive Due, completely sidestepping the controversy of Late Night with the Devil in her short tweet review? Well, what I neglected to mention about that, which ties into this, is that about an hour later she also posted a picture of her on a couch with David Desmalchin at an event for the film that was funded by Shudder, who distributed the project. And when I see that, how am I supposed to believe anything that she ever has to say as a cultural critic? If she is not engaging in good faith with the active conversation happening around a work of art, while also showing that she is close, or at least friendly, with the people who made that art. If she had acknowledged why people were upset with it, but said that she still liked the movie despite that.
How are you engaging in good faith when what you're doing is saying that the people around this person is what makes their argument bad? That is the definition of being bad faith. And he literally walked you through being bad faith. I I want to reach through the screen and strangle this motherfucker.
His
True.
logic is truly condescending. Okay, it's only bad faith when it's to him. Okay, though.
Well, he's tripping over himself. He's tripping over himself to claim other people are bad. Like, oh, this axe is terrible. Why did I just fall on this axe?
Well, they did have ads for the Axe body spray. Okay, they just brainwash people into buying the Axe.
How does he have people that watch him and not just call him out? I would. Anyways, keep going.
Okay.
I can't
Yeah,
wait.
I mean, it's infuriating.
I know it's going to get worse.
Oh, yes, definitely does. You've seen the clips.
Then that would have at least been somewhat respectable. I've done that tons of times. And I always try to acknowledge why an enjoyable work of art is also at the same time a harmful one, if I'm aware of the things that people are taking issue with. But she doesn't do that. She pretends it simply isn't happening. And taking a centrist, money-based position compromises her current and future credibility, at least to me. And it is okay to be friends with people who make art. I'm not saying that. It isn't a crime that she knows David DeSmolchin. But I do think it is ethically wrong to engage yourself in...
Everything you say before the word "but" is meaningless. I hate these people where they just, I'm so helpful and like political. I'm being so generous in this situation, but you're a Nazi. And everything you say is like murdering people. It's what you'll see. Every time he does that, every time he's like flowering up the side that he's about to talk about, he'll say, "They're great. Do you know what? This is something I might do," and blah blah blah. But they're terrible people, and this is why it's garbage. And you know what? You need to stay away from these people, even though he just admitted that he would probably do the same things and it's worthy to do those things. And you should understand why they would love to do that. Oh, God. I hate these
things. I call it a shit sandwich. You start off with saying nice things, you hit something really hard, and then you quickly either move on quickly, because it's a shit sandwich. Sometimes you don't even have both breads, or you say something really nice, then move on. Yes.
I'm with you on that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm totally with you on that. And then pivot to something else.
Yeah.
God, it's like
sometimes
that's the thing. What's it called? Corn Jake.
Oh God.
Was doing. Yeah, I know. He did a thing with the Distributist, and Spoon and Aiden Paladin did a stream with about it, and every time he admitted, like, "Oh, you're right," it would instantly turn into, "But what aboutism?" And everything that you just said was garbage, even though you're right. And they do it all the time. They only care about the finish. They don't care about what you do, like, to get there. And it's a ends justify the means attitude. It always is. It doesn't matter how many people you torture, as long as you win in the end. That's all that matters. It's the Vosh mentality that has permeated throughout the blood sport. Like what's it called?
The leftists, the left tubers,
the bread tubers. Yeah,
crumb,
it is
really crumb tubers nowadays. Okay, they're just sort of sad little shadows. I mean, I could respect the old bread tubers. I mean, I also hate them in some ways, but I could respect them to a certain extent. These crumb tubers who have followed are just jokes.
But could they actually like follow through with their convictions when they say stuff? Would they actually say, "No, this is yes, I believe actually that. No, you got that a little wrong. I want this, and this, but you're not completely wrong." That kind of attitude. And it seems so silly because the centrist community has kind of filled the in-between gaps on both sides, and nobody knows what they even mean anymore. And that's why I think having the bread tuber community the rightoid community, like Lauren Chan and Michaela Peterson and fucking all the guys. I'm not even gonna name them because fuck them.
Yeah, who cares about the guys? Society says fuck guys, so why don't we?
Yeah.
In some cases, a little bit too literally, like in your case, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Okay, not this guy though. Okay, who wants this guy? A guy, girl, they, them, non-binary, queer. I doubt would go after him.
Okay, hey, who do you think? Do you think this guy personally says that he's non-binary?
No clue.
I don't know, but I would guarantee they say they're non-binary.
They say they're queer.
Yeah. The bigger Dodge, okay, queer.
What
he fucking was trying to say love he was trying to say Lovecraft was definitely queer. Trying to lump him in with it.
And I was like, no, he was a fucking racist.
Yeah, you can be racist and queer. Trust me. I know lots of racist queer people. Lots.
Okay, let's move on from that. It was just funny.
In an ongoing public conversation as a public figure, if your own public position has been compromised by your personal connections. And every time this happens, I feel like I'm going a little bit crazy, especially because nobody ever really talks about this groupthink social media journalist and creator relationship psychology phenomenon at all.
What? Gamergate? As I said, what would his stance be on Gamergate and ethics of that? I wonder. No, I don't think he would get down with that.
No, but everybody's got to kind of think about it sometimes, right? Like Brandon Strusnik is the only person I've ever heard talk about this.
This is like the Peanuts. I might as well just pause this and go womp 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 womp. That's about okay. Here,
I know it's
talking about something.
I know it's a dick thing to say, but if we were going to talk this over and you've already watched this, I would have made time codes and with your notes. But we can do that later because this is a 3-hour and 20-minute video.
Yeah, there's no way I can just stream this. Okay, this is why I'm doing this right now, trying to pick out the sort of parts.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe I'm probably doing a video on this. I might do a stream for one section and a video for another section.
I would too.
Okay.
Do you know what? I should start taking notes. Jeez. Yeah. This is actually a lolcow kind of moment where it's kind of worth the just making fun of him just for views.
This guy kind of like gives me off like he has like a weird shaped dick. I don't know why.
With a curve. Like he has a left curve to it, but it's like maybe 5.5 inches long. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna press play.
The level of this poor little movie towards a film currently in wide release, with distribution on a pretty sizable streamer in a month, because people are saying it sucks that it used AI. Just say you dug the movie, LOL. I love and respect all of you, so I'm really not trying to be a dick. I just don't understand being mad at folks not wanting to support it. Casting crew or paid. It's out there for the rest of the not terminally online to see. I think it's going to be okay. I feel like we give special exemptions for shit we like made by people we like, and I'm not sure I'm into that. Again, I'm not subtweeting any one person. I'm just saying I, Brandon James Strusnik, disagree with the approach, but I'm sure we'll agree on lots of other stuff. As you probably well know, Spyglass Entertainment refused to pay Neve Campbell what she felt like.
Do you know what? I kind of respect that response. I kind of respect that response. That's one of those where you kind of get frustrated and you're like, okay, do you know what? Fuck it. If you don't like it, that's fine. But we're trying to do this specific thing and we want to appeal to these specific people. That's fine if you don't like it, but don't we're not going to like get mad about it. And then, of course,
Yeah, let's not target anyone. Okay,
Yeah.
let's not target anyone.
and that seems like a reasonable thing especially from a business point of view when you're creating a product to appeal to as many people as you could possibly appeal to. So diplomacy versus critics is so stupid. And now let's look at this. Nev Campbell.
Yeah, I'm
on
sort of pivot. This seems like a weird fucking pivot here.
It is a weird pivot.
6, and as a result, she walked from that project and did not appear in that film. In her statement, she would publicly say, "As a woman,
what?
I have had to work
What does that have to
extremely
do
hard
with
in
him
my
talking
career
about
to
AI?
establish my value, especially when it
Nothing.
comes to Scream. I felt the offer that was presented to
He
me
just
did
has
not
a hard
equate the
on
value
hate for
I have
AI.
brought to the
I mean, I'm not a
franchise.
fan of
It's
it.
been a very difficult decision to move on. To all of my Scream fans, I love you. You've always been so incredibly supportive to me. I'm forever grateful to you and what this franchise has given me over the past 25 years." The new star of the series, Melissa Barrera, put out a statement at the time that said, "We are all heartbroken, but we totally understand and respect her decision, and hopefully if we get to make another
Oh
one,
my
we can
God,
move her
how
back."
dare
Cut to Scream
she.
7, and Spyglass fired basically their entire cast and crew because Barrera posted something on social media in support of Palestine, which
What?
No, I don't believe that. I do not believe that they fired the entire cast and crew because she posted something in support of Palestine. I don't believe that.
What?
There's no one that could convince me that an entire movie, like the entire logistics of a movie, got shut down because of one person on there.
Yeah, it was probably
posting
just a cope,
something about
okay?
Palestine.
Probably an excuse.
Nobody, but that's dumb. And saying that makes him so disingenuous. There's nobody that could believe it.
He spreads misinformation about some YouTubers, which aren't true, in this video. So you can't really take for what he says is, because anything he says as is.
And his take on 9/11 dead is stupid, okay? Talking that had anything to do with racism or fighting about race, it's complete BS asshole. That's the one bit that I already have recorded, okay? It's so dumb. It has to be the start of whatever video I have, okay? I already have that recorded. Like, there's a little article from George R. Romero saying, yeah, we didn't hire this guy. It's legitimately the liberal approach, the color blind approach. We didn't hire him because he was black. We hired him because he was the best guy for the job, okay? That's literally why they hired him. By the own thing.
I did a paper on that movie because he was like the first black guy to kind of like be a main character in a movie, especially a horror movie. So I know a bit about.
Really?
I think I did a paper on that also.
Wait, no, shut up, Vincent. Okay, tell me what the paper was about.
Me?
Yes. How did you break it down? Like in a summary, like give it to me in 30 seconds.
That was in high school. I can't remember. All I remember is the parts about like how he was like one of the first guys to be one of the first black African Americans to be in a horror film as one of the main characters, as well as his main love interest is a white woman.
Oh, and
Barbara, his love interest is a little weird.
Yeah, okay.
I think that they were, I don't know, I think there was supposed to be some romance between them.
Okay.
Well,
that's
but everything involving in vampires is sexual. There's always a romantic. It's almost like a Harlequin romance novel, but a little bit more violent. Just add.
Blame Anne Rice for that. Okay.
Add 30% more violence to every Harlequin romance novel, and it turns into a vampire novel. Yeah, Anne Rice, yes. And I have read all of Anne Rice's novels, and they are very sexy, Very, very
Yeah.
sexy and horny.
Well, not as bad as Kim Harris. God, I couldn't get through the fucking Anna
Ooh.
Blake. They had a really
Ooh.
good comic book. No,
Kim
never
Har-
mind. Sorry.
Okay, anyways.
Oh, yeah.
I used to
Cast
have
and crew because Barrera
used to have
posted
an
something on
entire-
social
No.
Mm.
Keep going.
media in support of Palestine, which is something that gained a lot of media attention, as you probably well know. Neve Campbell did not
No.
pay Barrera the same professional respect and said nothing publicly in support of her, as far as I can tell. Then, on March 12th, Neve Campbell announced that she was coming back to Scream 7, taking Barrera's job as the lead in that film. I hope that we can all at least agree that this is an objectively wrong thing for her to have done, both to her own legacy as well as to her peers, and that she would have just been better off to let the Scream door shut behind her and move on to new things while still being loved and remembered fondly, and that we also should not financially reward Spyglass by going to see their new Scream film, where they will absolutely be weaponizing nostalgia and goodwill against you to profit off of this. So,
Yeah, that's what sequels do, and I'm not understanding his point. Was there a point there that I missed?
I didn't understand anything. Like he basically just said what a sequel was, as you just said. So
Yeah. God, okay. Sorry. It's hurting my head.
in the weeks following, Barrera has since unfollowed Neve Campbell on social media, and it is clear who is deeply in the wrong in this situation. And I want to look at one
No.
tweet in particular here that got a lot of attention from the day of this announcement.
No, I'm
That
skipping.
came from
I'm
John
skipping. This
Squires,
just
the editor-in-chief for Broadcast and Outlet over the past 6 or 7 years, has been sponsored
Okay.
by whatever upcoming Blumhouse movies that are being released.
okay. He was trying to say Blumhouse earlier is taking advantage of minorities. He made this out-of-pocket statement, said he was saving it for later. I guess this is it here. Okay, prepare
Okay.
yourself.
Than the gravity of horror film culture, when nearly every horror podcast and outlet over the past 6 or 7 years has been sponsored by whatever upcoming Blumhouse movies that are being released. I think that puts us all in a weird situation where this guy is at the center of everything that we do financially. Because he has, to me, shown through his actions that he actively holds values against what we should be standing for. I'm not trying to call anyone out in particular at all, because at this point, it is a very widespread problem. As a community at large, we are way too financially hooked to this guy at a level that frequently makes me very uncomfortable. I immediately question anyone's ethics and legitimacy when I hear them do an ad read for a Blumhouse product. I genuinely can't say for sure because I get a lot of emails like this, and honestly, I don't read most of them. But I am 99% sure that I have been offered money by them at several points in the past for an ad read for upcoming films.
No
And
one ever
essentially, everyone
sponsored-
who works in horror
Okay, this is just frustrating. Okay. He goes on and on and on.
has as well, or gifts or what have you, and a great deal of them have accepted that offer. I, as a blanket rule, have never accepted gifts or sponsorship for my work,
Ain't I
even
so
though I get
good,
a constant
so
string of email
ethical?
offers about them. And if I ever do end up doing
People who
one,
get
then I hope you
paid
will
are
take that as a
bad,
sign that I
bad
genuinely
people.
endorse that company and that product.
I'm more
For the record, I have also
unbiased.
never accepted a gift in any form from any company that makes horror media. I think that kind of transparency is important there, and I would always disclose if I accepted something. The most that I have ever accepted is from individual authors working independently who have offered to send me free copies of their books because they like my work. But if I ever thought that taking that would put me in a compromising situation that might stand in the way of my own honesty, I would always say no in every single situation. The only thing I have of value left to me in this world is my writing and my perspective. And I would never do a single thing that compromised that, even if that meant I occasionally had to do something that was not the most socially nice thing.
I'm dead. He killed me. Fucker's going on and on about how unbiased, how pure of a critic he is. Fucking hell.
He says he thinks he's holier than thou.
Yeah, because he makes no money off of any blah, blah, blah.
This is why you live in a freaking garage.
Garage. Okay. Probably lives in one of those washer machines there. Probably sleeps there.
He crawls
Like,
out of it.
I'm better than a vampire. They live in a spacious coffin. I sleep in a fucking washing machine.
I think, okay, now I'm seeing Yes, his dick is like leans to the left.
Okay, we get into
Yes,
the
I
dick talk.
know.
Red
If
flag,
has-
flag,
the
he
worst
has-
thing that you can
yeah,
come at
he
me
has
with
it-
is
he
that I'm
has the
not always
curve.
overwhelmingly nice in every single situation, then
because
I
of the
can
washing
live with
machine.
that. Because there is a difference between kind and nice, and I'd like to think that I deliver on kind where it counts. Most of us who work here for a living have either had contact with Blum or his company, and almost every one of those interactions.
I think his curve, his spine is curved, so he can suck that left curve in penis as you keep going on about.
Num 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 num.
Because obviously he's sucking his own cock here. Okay, assuming he still has one, and it's not a micro penis. Okay. Where's your
Okay.
dick? Oh, you see the
Okay.
slightly thick-looking thing between all my
Okay.
pubic hair?
Okay.
Interactions have been
Okay.
financially motivated. It just all too often to me feels like we have collectively agreed to this deal with the devil, and everyone is
Okay.
kind of afraid to even talk about it or acknowledge that it's a thing, because to a degree, everyone's hands are kind of dirty from being in the pot. Again, I'm not trying to make accusations against anyone on a personal level. I understand why someone would feel like they needed to take a sponsorship from them, but I hope that after saying this,
Oh,
everyone
okay.
who is in this position
I'll be
from now
back.
on will consider if
I
that
got-
money
Yes. You're not going to miss anything much. I'll save it for the window. I'll pause for the Wendigo thing.
is actually worth
Wendigoon.
it. Because as it stands now, everyone from horror TikTokers and freelance writers on up to the largest horror publications like Fangoria and Bloody
TikTok.
Disgusting
That
pose to
sounds
make
Hmm.
Horror TikToker sounds awful. Like, imagine they're like non-binary, like trans, whatever, and then you just look at them and they're trying to talk to you about a horror movie, and you're like, you are a horror movie.
Oh, God. That is horrible. But it fits the setting. And look at the black nail polish. Why the
Oh,
black
shit.
nail polish? Because he's queer, I guess. I don't even think it's complete black nail polish. Oh, fuck it out.
If I didn't
a
talk,
lot of
people
money every
wouldn't know that
Mhm.
I was gay. If I did not talk, people would be like, oh, that guy, he's just a straight guy. But because I talk and my voice is like this, people are always like, oh yeah, he's gay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't assume anything about people, but gay, straight, whatever, doesn't matter to me. Blah.
single time Blumhouse puts out a large movie. And I'm just here to ask in the politest way that I can for everyone to consider if that is the most ethical thing that we could be doing in this moment. And I hope to stand as an example to show that a horror content business can be run without platforming things like that. I've operated for years at this point basically without reviewing a single Blumhouse movie, and that has been intentional. If I ever do platform something from them or something else that I similarly view as a bit dubious, I always address that before I even start talking about why I want to talk about the work itself. As critics, as journalists, as fans, I think we owe it to each other as a community to be forthright with these things, because ultimately, it is within our power what companies we decide to give our voice to. I view Fangoria as being kind of the cultural steward of horror, and they've kind of held that position for decades now. And with that does come a certain level of responsibility in relation to what they decide to publish, because their voice matters. And in my opinion, sometimes they have not been the best about that when it comes to Blum and his movies. I think they often will do great work, and if they hate me after this for saying all of this, that would actually make me tremendously, deeply sad, because all of this comes from a place of love and professional respect for their position within genre history. And I want that all to be said up front. But for the emphasis that they place on gathering people from different backgrounds to show their own perspectives, from all the great queer writers that they have, the non-white writers, the women writers, the industry legends, just the general professionalism that they typically will show in producing a horror magazine that is managing to thrive in 2024, I just think it's a shame how much their brand relies on Blum's money. Because since the rebranding, out of 22 issues that they have produced, by my count, 8 of them feature a Blumhouse movie somewhere on the cover, with 4 of them being the full-blown cover story. And
Jesus Christ. 8 out of 20. Ugh. And how many films does Blumhouse, just because you have a elitist prick up your fucking ass, you queer motherfucker, not even committed to bisexual, gay, or whatnot, okay? Just going with that queer label, which is practically meaningless, okay? You're going on about such minor things without going into the detail, knowing there's so much fucking Blumhouse movies. You got a personal issue with it for some reason. What is the reason? You made allusions that they use minorities in some way. What are those ways they use them? I just don't understand.
Me neither.
He's just going on. How long has it been going on about this? Come on, give me the why you think they use minorities. Okay, you made a claim earlier. Are you just gonna fucking railroad, not even address that shit? Fuck it out.
And each time that they get a cover story, usually that means there will be multiple articles on the interior dedicated to that Blumhouse movie. And, we all know that 9 times out of 10, these movies are either going to be garbage or just barely passable. The Blumhouse system of rushing things out the door made for $20 does not produce great work most of the time, to the point where they have really started to lose their cultural footing by falling into total self-parody, like Night Swim, about the haunted swimming pool that features a Major League Baseball playing protagonist who is suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease. Out of their movies that have been on the cover of Fangoria, I would argue that Halloween 2018 and Megan are the only ones that are just okay, with the other ones being genuinely outright bad. And as an organization, they should not be stooping to sell their audience on total garbage movies that they know full and well are...
Not getting that?
Repeat that.
Megan was supposed to be like a comedy horror. It wasn't supposed to be strictly horror, and he's saying that it was mid, like, as a horror film. I'm like, that's not the point. Like, Blumhouse has made awful movies, but if I'm correct, they made Lights Out, and that movie was pretty good. It's like he just doesn't recognize the good movies that they've done, and it's so stupid. Just I don't know. I'm kind of
his perspective
interested.
that he has the worldview. Horror movies aren't worth making if they aren't good, if they aren't a radicalized and force, because horror is inherently. You missed this argument because I went through it earlier. It fucking blew my brain that he was basically making the argument it had to be radically pushing for progressive to leftist ideas or else it's not worth making. And I'm like, that is so completely retarded and rejecting. Even brought up some what he considered conservative movies, and he's like, these movies should not exist in the horror space because they do not respect the sort of counterculture issues that horror was made to address. It was fucking, he just hates conservatives. Okay, he doesn't think they should exist.
Is he gonna get to the point where he explains, like, because he's just like dragging this on till like get to a point about the minority thing, like what
I don't even know if he's gonna address the minority thing. I'm assuming he's leading up to it, but this is just a drag.
Absolute pieces of shit. We don't need to be giving Blumhouse and their lazy anti-art system this much publicity and attention when there are so many other better and more interesting things made that don't get the mainline spotlight that they deserve. And to their credit, Fangoria does work hard to spotlight smaller films in every single issue. They are among the best at getting people excited for little movies, and I think they should stretch that talent more to really embrace and lift up the smaller side of horror, which has always been our most interesting work and the backbone of what we all do. To me, I see Blumhouse at
our most interesting work. What movies have you made, motherfucker? Okay. Where do you belong in this space? Okay. You're just a fucking elitist prick, probably with a micro penis that's bent to the left. Okay. Why do you get this authority?
At their absolute best as the MCU equivalent of horror movies, and I do not mean that as a compliment. I think they are bad for horror. I think they are a bad company that makes mediocre, uninspired, ugly art 9 times out of 10. And when they accidentally let a good one through the cracks, it almost certainly is not because they were helping the filmmaker in that process. They famously use market research a ton in deciding the final cuts of their films. And as I've said before, as someone who used to work in film market research before becoming a YouTuber, that process only hurts the work and has, in my opinion, basically never.
And you add it to the system. You know the system. Is that the only thing you've done in film besides be a little shit-ass elite film YouTuber? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know.
once made a single movie better. They might as well just be hiring a team of carnival psychics to tell them what to do. And I also don't think that just because they are one of the largest public entities of championing horror, that they shouldn't be criticized. In fact, the opposite is true. Their motives absolutely should be evaluated on what they are doing and also what they bring to the table. The business
What are
of
their
making
motives?
movies is a business. Profit is always the goal. Movies are made to make a profit, obviously. Movies are art. But all art and how we have structured our society
A
for
movie
better
doesn't have to be
worse,
art.
needs to be
That's
sustainable.
just so
Yeah.
stupid.
It's just an expression. You want to tell a story, okay? If it falls in the horror genre, it falls in there. Use it, okay? God. He even brought up trauma earlier. What does he think about trauma films? Okay. Said very little, except for it's pushing like progressive crap, in his opinion. And I don't know. This just is going on about film as he's some sort of expert. Look at that fucking smug look on his face. I just
Everybody has to eat, and they need a roof over their heads. But there's a difference between being successful to the point of sustainability and being a Silicon Valley-style tycoon who doesn't even really seem to care all that much about movies other than the capital they can generate. I absolutely hate that one of the largest public faces of horror for the past decade or so looks like if you type CEO into an AI image generator. And on that note, one of his newest movies, Imaginary, is actually being accused by some of feeling as if it had been written or at least influenced by an AI, which is what the magic of market research will buy you, by the way. It is
Oh, here we come. It feels like it's AI. It probably is AI. AI is bad, anti-art, blah, blah, blah. I'm guessing that's his point here. It feels like it's AI, so it must be AI.
I really hate that the fact that that's his argument, because he feels he's not smart enough to be able to deal with the AI that's coming out. He thinks that his content isn't worthwhile, while there's algorithms out there that can actually do stuff better than him. That's when you know
market research, okay?
Oh, market, because he's not using the tools available to him. That's the problem. If you're in market research, you should be using every single tool available to you. And if you don't, then there's a reason why you got fired, and you're living in a fucking base. You're living in a garage of someone else because you weren't good at it, and you're complaining about it. It just seems like super cope, like he doesn't even know what he's doing. Like I think I'm doing it the right way, even though everyone keeps firing him, and he can't make it on his own. It's super cope, bro. When you realize that you are not as good as everyone else, what you do is you adjust, adapt, overcome. You start figuring out how you can make yourself better. You don't just sit there and you make a 3 hour and 20-minute video about how everyone else is wrong except for me. That's why I'm not rich. It's jealousy.
Well, you missed
it's straight up jealousy.
You missed the part where after Mark After Dark slandered him a couple of times on Twitter with so many likes, just totally misrepresenting his eyes studio.
Deserved.
His views started to drop right after that. Okay, so it must have been a slander and just building up. Okay, and all that came. Oh, this is just a horrible mess. It seems to be mostly attack on AI, and I don't even know where he gets in the wind to go. Well, he's obviously going after Blumhouse, and let's see what, besides this sort of AI, he, as I said, takes advantage of minorities. How does Blumhouse does it? Does he just completely
taking advantage of me?
Yeah. Oh, queer people probably. Okay. All the queer people. All the queer people. I'm still waiting for this. He switched to his sort of AI talking point. Let's see if he gets to the minority talking point.
It is an industry of people who are severely depressed, that are slowly going insane. I had to watch the trailer for the 2016 children's film Monster Trucks. I would ballpark somewhere in between 400 and 500 times. It is hard to describe what that mentally does to a person when you do that all day long for weeks upon weeks until the trailer is supposedly perfect down to the individual frame, only for you to move on to a new unbearable horror. Unless people are talking about Get Out, then historically when they are talking about Blumhouse as a company on social media, they are talking about how cheap their movies are or how much money they make. Like that should even be the point of all of this. Ever since Paranormal Activity, Blum has been defined by how he can make a film for under $10 million and sometimes spin it to generate hundreds of millions at the box office. But I think more than that. His legacy should be defined by the seemingly toxic work environment that he has created, the boys' club that he has built around himself, as well as the repeated backing of conservative films and filmmakers, despite calling himself a liberal to make money, which he clearly views as being more important than any values that he actually holds in this world.
So liberal people can't be money.
I want good original horror to thrive.
I'm still waiting for him to get to the conservatives that he's sort of funded and da.
Romeo, what were you saying?
I said, so he's basically saying that liberal people can't have money or make money to be liberal.
Yes.
Yes, I'll go with that.
That is actually kind of what he's saying. They can't have the mindset for it. The moment you start actually making money enough to take care of yourself, you can't.
You're conservative.
Yeah, you're conservative. But I'm going to say this bluntly. I was a leftist until I bought my house in 2011. And then everything after that, like, oh my God, I gotta pay all these bills. I'm okay. What do I gotta do? I gotta get roommates in my duplex to be able to pay all the bills because I can't afford all the bills together. Okay, but I'm the only one who can do it. So okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you're all gonna screw me over. I have 6 renters that all ditch me and decide not to pay rent for like 6 months in a row, but I hope that they do. And then I get flipped with the bill. So you start going, okay, well, I can only count on myself. And I have to be the person that takes care of everything. I can't depend on anyone else. Everyone else that is in my sphere, they're just a benefit. That's the attitude.
I was going to say, are you sure you weren't that wasn't a brothel that you had, or
you went digitized? Sorry, I couldn't hear that. It all went like as if you like lost communication for a while.
I heard. You sure you weren't running a brothel?
Yep, that's what.
No. Well. Okay. For a time, I did have 3 prostitutes living in my place. For a time.
Wait, female or male?
I think you told me that story.
Female.
Okay.
Yes. Not strippers. That was before. That was like 3 years before.
Oh.
But
okay, that was a different story. Okay.
I did have, and I used to drive for the girls who used to sell themselves for sex. And was like my an extra form of side money.
Okay, let's not incriminate each other.
It's not.
Oh yeah, it's not illegal where you're at,
dude. Hey, no. Well, first thing, driving someone somewhere and getting money for it is no crime.
Unless it's like robbing a bank, I think that would count. Well, but you're right. In your terms, yes.
Yes.
You're just a paid driver.
Exactly, like a taxi driver. Do taxi drivers should they
Good
be
point.
Exactly
prosecuted for giving the strippers a right? Yeah, absolutely right. But like just bank robbers, like driver is about the only thing where you might be able to get accountable. I guess they have some leeway if they don't actually. They can play dumb. Like I didn't know these guys they wanted me to drive them to this bank, and they were all dressed up. They went in.
Yeah, no, that's different. That's different. There's a big difference between an Uber driver and at the time I was an Uber driver,
Okay, got it.
but I never put it on the. It's not like they ever like called me on the app saying, "Hey, can you pick me up?" No, I would just drive them to their calls.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, sorry, my brain is sort of melting at this point. Why do I do this to myself? I don't
Same
know
with me.
why.
I'm gonna have to go in like 5 minutes. So
Okay.
let's have some fun for the next like 5 minutes and be goofy as all hell.
And to be successful. I am always happy when movies do well, but at the same time, the cartoonish reaction that people had on Twitter to Megan making $30 million in its first weekend was a little gross to me. All I heard about was how much it made and how they cut the violence and blood and kills out of a slasher movie to get it down to a PG-13 rating to make more money, and how that was a good thing that the studio cut up a movie to make it worse because we have to worship the dollar just to see.
Worship the dollar. Romeo, didn't you say this was sort of comical in styling? Sort of like a Chucky imitation, I'm guessing? I didn't watch Megan, but
it's kind of more funny than Chucky.
Okay, intentionally funny. You position it. They completely straw man. I mean, this guy completely made it like, what the fuck? The thing with Bill Murray and Adam Driver starring in a zombie film was supposed to be a horror and not the absurd piece of insanity that it was. The Dead Don't Die, where Adam Driver at the end of the film, Bill Murray's like to him, "How did you know this was going to be a bad day?" I read the script. Okay. He literally broke the fourth wall and he treated it like it was supposed to be a serious, actual horror movie. Some point about the two police officers are the only ones alive in the city, trying to make a critique on cops. No, it was just a stupid film. Okay. And I can even forgive it for the Make America White Again on what was that? Oh, not Shimmy. What's the fucking hell. I'll play it.
See how rich Jason Blum can possibly be. Genuinely. Almost no one was actually talking about whether Megan was actually good or not. Nobody was talking about the movie itself, just the environment around the movie. The product itself is second to the money. Listen to any conversation about a Blumhouse film, and it's always the same. Oh yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's sure was a big piece of shit, but did you see how much money it made? The conversation is always entirely
Five Nights at Freddy's was
celebrating
actually a good movie. It was a good. It was a 6.8. It was a 6.8, and I would see it, and I've seen it twice. I watched it twice, and I'm glad that I spent the money on it to go see it in the theaters, because that movie cost $18 million to make, and it made $130 million.
Probably a lot of that was around licensing, and it had some pull. Definitely had fans. Look at all the lore around it, all the fucking YouTube videos.
Yeah. I swear.
How many careers have it made?
I swear it made like 10 times the amount of money that it spent on the production value, even though there was a little bit of marketing and stuff like that. So let's say it costed $20 million to make, and it made over $100 million. That's a win. It might not be a great movie, but this is the kind of film. This is the kind of cinema that we should actually have. This is actually what we need to have in the overall zeitgeist of film, and media. That these movies can come out, not be super expensive, but make enough money to be able to fund the next movie that they want to make. That isn't, crazy over the top haute couture, where it's costing $160 million to blah 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 and pay for these $25 million actors. Fuck them, and fuck these overpriced prostitutes that we're paying. Like it's so stupid. But it's destroying the entire film industry. That's why the strike was the greatest thing that could have possibly happened to Hollywood. Make it completely financially impossible to actually make these super expensive movies ever again.
No, I can't disagree with it. Okay.
Same with games. I do believe the AAA video game industry has destroyed themselves, other than FromSoft. And they've just kind of given up to the mob, and they don't want to make money anymore. They want to get loans. And that's not tenable in the long term, but it is for the short term.
Despite the controversy, there's other games out there, typically not Western games. The Korean market, like they brought up Stellar Blade. I mean, despite all the fucking hype around that shit, it's still.
Do you know how much Stellar Blade cost to make?
Not as
it costed
that much.
No, it didn't. It costed half as much as as the last Call of Duty.
And Call of Duty tends to be rehashed with a reskin typically.
Yes.
Call of Duty's just progressively worse. Or is that Call of Duty, okay.
Yes. So
garbage.
It makes no sense. It's like they're throwing money into a big bonfire and hoping a bunch of people will come around and hang out with them. They can make their own bonfires.
Oh, there's a few games I think are really probably rather bad that I can actually admire in some ways, like Deathloop, even though it's completely crap. I actually respected it in some ways for doing something, but I didn't want to play it. I'm like, it looks cool. There's a couple of games out there I think does decent things. Canadian. Okay, I guess I'll give it a go.
What's that, American? And if you say to me that you played Space Marine 1 and you're like, that was a garbage game, we can't be friends, because I know with your attitude and the way I know you'll go, this is pretty good. It goes through all the steps. It takes care of all. It's not a complex storyline, but it does everything you want it to do in the most extreme way possible. It does the job. It's like getting
that's what a game should do. Okay, yes, do what it's good at.
The only thing you will dislike about Space Marine is running from area to area, because there's no fast travel. You actually do the running.
Okay. As long as they have a competent running system, okay. There's some fucking...
But that's what they do. It's part of the game loop, because the loading screens, while you're like running from area to area, it loads the next area in. So it makes it so you have enough time that you're running towards it, then it's already completely loaded in. There's no loading screens.